Wayne Bertram Williams is an American man who was tried, convicted, and sentenced to life imprisonment in 1982 for killing two adult men. After his conviction, the Atlanta police announced that Williams was responsible for at least 23 of the 29 Atlanta murders of 1979 and 1981, but he has never been formally indicted nor tried for any of them. His guilt has been disputed by multiple parties, and Williams himself continues to maintain his innocence. Biography: Wayne Bertram Williams was born on May 27, 1958 and raised in the Dixie Hills neighborhood of southwest Atlanta, Georgia to Homer and Faye Williams. Both parents were teachers. Williams graduated from Douglas High School and developed a keen interest in radio and journalism. Eventually he constructed his own carrier current radio station. He also began hanging out at radio stations WIGO and WAOK, where he befriended a number of the announcing crew and began dabbling in becoming a music producer and manager. Trial and conviction: Williams first became a suspect May 1981 when his car was heard by a team of police who were conducting surveillance at a bridge near the site where the bodies of murdered children had previously been found. 1. Police recruit Robert Campbell did not hear the car approaching but said he heard a big loud splash in the water at that time. The police stopped Williams' car and questioned him, but he claimed that he was going out of town to audition a young singer, Cheryl Johnson. The police later discovered that the phone number he gave them did not exist. FBI tried to find Cheryl Johnson from the address and phone details given, but were unable to find her. 2 days later, the body of 27-year-old Nathaniel Cater, who had been missing for days, turned up in the river. The medical examiner on the case ruled he had died of probable asphyxia, but never authoritatively said he had been strangled. Police theorized that Williams had killed Cater and had thrown him off the bridge the night they had pulled him over. Their suspicions about Williams increased after the results of 3 polygraph tests indicated he had failed each one, and hairs and fibers on one of the victims' bodies were found to be consistent with those from Williams' home, car, and dog. Police found a book on how to beat a polygraph test when they searched his home and later stated Williams seemed to be in disbelief that he could fail a test. Throughout the several-week-long investigation, Williams taunted police officers staking out his parents' home with insults and jokes. Co-workers told police they had seen Williams with scratches on his face and arms around the time of the murders which, investigators surmised, could have been inflicted by victims during a struggle. During a press conference that Williams held outside his home to proclaim his innocence, he volunteered that he had failed multiple polygraph tests, a fact that would have been inadmissible in court. He was arrested on June 21, 1981, for the murders of Cater and 29-year-old Jimmy Payne. The trial began on January 6, 1982 in Fulton County. The prosecution's case relied on trace fiber evidence. During the 2-month trial, prosecutors matched 19 different sources of fibers from Williams' home and car environment: his bedspread, bathroom, gloves, clothes, carpets, dog and an unusual trilobal carpet fiber to a number of victims. Other evidence included eyewitness testimony that placed Williams with different victims when they were alive and identified inconsistencies in his accounts of his whereabouts. Williams took the stand in his own defense, but alienated the jury by becoming angry and combative. After 12 hours of deliberation, the jury found him guilty on February 27 of Cater's and Payne's murders. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive terms of life imprisonment. In the late 1990s, Williams filed a habeas corpus petition and requested a retrial. But County Superior Court Judge Hal Craig denied his appeal. Attorney General Thurbert Baker said that although this does not end the appeal process, I am pleased with the results in the habeas case, and that his office will continue to do everything possible to uphold the conviction. In early 2004, Williams sought a retrial once again. In the 146-page federal court filing, his attorneys argued that Williams should be retried because law enforcement officials covered up evidence of Klan involvement, and that carpet fibers linking him to the crimes would not stand up to scientific scrutiny. A federal judge rejected the request for retrial on October 17, 2006. Aftermath: neither Williams nor anyone else was ever tried for the murder of the boy, later identified as Curtis Walker, aged 13, whose body was dumped into Atlanta's South River in 1981. This was the same case which would lead to the stakeouts of Atlanta bridges by the Atlanta PD and FBI that resulted in Williams becoming a suspect in May 1981 and his later apprehension in June 1981. Williams is serving his sentence at Hancock State Prison. Controversy: Williams maintained his innocence from the beginning, and claimed that Atlanta officials covered up evidence of Ku Klux Klan involvement in the killings to avoid a race war in the city. His lawyers have charged that the conviction was a profound miscarriage of justice that has kept an innocent man incarcerated for a majority of his adult life and allowed the real killers to escape justice. In contrast, Joseph Drolet, who prosecuted Williams at trial, has stood by Williams' convictions, noting that after Williams was arrested, the murders stopped and there has been nothing since. Other observers have criticized the thoroughness of the investigation, and the validity of its conclusions. The author James Baldwin, in his essay The Evidence of Things Not Seen, raised questions about Williams' guilt. Members of his community and several of the victims' parents did not believe that Williams, the son of two professional teachers, could have killed so many. On May 6, 2005, the DeKalb County Police Chief Louis Graham ordered the reopening of the murder cases of 4 boys killed in that county between February and May 1981 that had been attributed to Williams. The reopening of the investigation was welcomed by relatives of some victims, who said they believed the wrong man was blamed for many of the murders. Graham, an assistant police chief in neighboring Fulton County at the time of the murders, said his decision to reopen the cases was driven solely by his belief in the innocence of Williams. Former DeKalb County Sheriff Sidney Dorsey, who was an Atlanta homicide detective at the time, also said he believed Williams was wrongly blamed for the murders. If they arrested a white guy, he said, there would have been riots across the U.S. Fulton County authorities have not reopened any of the cases under their jurisdiction, however. According to an August 2005 report, Charles T. Sanders, a white supremacist affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan and an early suspect in the murders once praised the crimes and secretly recorded conversations. Although Sanders did not claim responsibility for any of the deaths, he told an informant for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation in the 1981 recording that the killer had wiped out 1,000 future generations of niggers. Police dropped the probe into the KKK's possible involvement when Sanders and 2 of his brothers passed lie detector tests. The case was once again closed on July 21, 2006. Former FBI profiler John E. Douglas wrote in his book Mindhunter that in his opinion, forensic and behavioral evidence points conclusively to Wayne Williams as the killer of 11 young men in Atlanta. He added, however, that he did not find the evidence linking him to all, or even most of the child murders to be convincing. DNA testing was performed in 2010 on scalp hairs found on the body of victim Patrick Baltazar. While the results were not firmly conclusive, the FBI's DNA laboratory listed odds of 130 to 1 against the hairs coming from any person other than Wayne Williams. The Baltazar case was included among 10 additional victims presented to the jury at Williams' trial, although he was never charged in any of those cases. Dog hair also found on Baltazar's body was tested in 2007 by the Genetics Laboratory at the University of California, Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, which found a 99 of 100 chance that the DNA sequence came from the Williams family's German Shepherd. The FBI report stated only that Wayne Williams cannot be excluded as a suspect in the case. A Department of Justice study, released in April 2015, concluded that numerous hair analyses conducted by FBI examiners during the 1980s and 90s may have failed to meet professional standards. Defense attorney Lynn Watley immediately announced that the report would form the basis for a new appeal. But prosecutors responded that hair evidence played only a minor role in Williams' conviction. References. External links: Serial Killers, Part 5, Wayne Williams and the Atlanta Child Murders FBI, Williams' biography and details of the murders, Crime Library case details.